to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the podcast. It's the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, if you're nasty. No Andy, just me, but Jason is also here too. My best friend.
Your best friend! Yeah, we're gonna have a party today. It's a mailbag show.
Oh yeah, and Brooks wants us to.
The bear is here.
Jay Grizz, cardboard bear extraordinaire.
The bear is here. Yeah, it should be a fun one. We're doing the this makes sense.
It's a very, you remember back in the, we had in the 80s and the 90s. On today's very special episode of the Fantasy Footballers.
Yeah, but it makes sense that Andy wouldn't be here because this is Dynasty Week.
Right.
This is the Dynasty show, and I mean, look, Foot Clan, if you are unaware, we have another podcast, the Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Show, comes out every Wednesday, and that has me and Mike.
I think we call it the Dynasty Podcast. Do we call it the Dynasty Show?
I do. Obviously.
Jeremy's shaking his head no.
Yeah, it's definitely the Dynasty Podcast.
Okay, it's a Dynasty Podcast.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Show.
Well, you call it what you want, I call it what I want. But every Wednesday we release a new episode of the podcast show, Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Edition. And Andy does not usually participate in that. That's Mike and I, Borg Bets. It's a great show. If you're listening to this, if you want more Dynasty content, make sure you download, subscribe, do all that jazz.
Is that why he's the worst team in the league and we were in the playoffs
that's
and then
probably
I won?
Yeah, that's probably why.
I mean,
so good he's not on today's episode, Sorry about your voice. He has lost his voice, which is pretty important for podcast showing.
Yeah.
And
editioning.
Yeah. But hopefully back next week. We've got a lot.
Yes. He is Jay Grizz, the cardboard bear. Well, like I said, it's a special edition of this edition of the podcast show.
Welcome to Dynasty Week.
Once a year around this time, we have ourselves a good old-fashioned Dynasty Week. The theme of today's show will be Dynasty related, and to help us celebrate it, we are giving away a signed Jimmy Cook of the Buffalo Bills. I almost called him the Buffalo Bears because this bear is in my face.
I mean, he's large. He's a full grizzly.
But if you want in on that, all you got to do is have pre-ordered the Ultimate Draft Kit, the UDK Plus, be an Ultimate Tier Foot Clan supporter. You can do
any of the above. You don't have to do all of that.
No. You just pick one of those, and then not only are you securing the UDK for the lowest possible price,
which releases in about 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. 2 weeks. There's something you're going to grab to help you out with the draft. You might win a signed James Cook jersey. Which that's a win-win-win.
James Dalvin Cook, a great running back.
Man, he got real good.
He really did.
He got real good.
He went from a guy that was like, well, he was efficient with touchdowns, doesn't get a lot of volume, to just the dude. Oh, they were split it 2 ways. They're splitting it 3 ways. Now it's just like, man, he's too good. He's too good to give anyone else the ball there. And led the league in rushing, so that makes sense.
So check that out, ultimatedraftkit.com, or jointhefoot.com if you want to be one of the long-term supporters of the show. Today's quick question: who is a later round pick in rookie drafts not getting talked about enough?
I'll bring up Andy's since he's not here, and because you probably don't agree with it as much as myself and Andy do.
I totally agree that he is a sleeper.
You didn't love the film,
correct,
and that's fine. Because
nor did the Tennessee Titans. I mean, they liked it. They
liked it enough to draft him,
but in the 5th round for what we're looking for.
Your better argument there was nor did the NFL.
Okay,
because all the teams let him drop to the 5th. The Titans were the one that actually pulled the trigger. Nicholas Singleton.
Yeah, I think they were like, eh.
Well, they needed depth. Tony Pollard is getting older. Tajay Spears is a smaller, kind of more niche back. Nicholas Singleton in the 5th round. This was a guy who was the number 1 recruit in the nation. Okay, so he came into college as a very, very highly touted high school athlete. And then in college, all he did was he had a 4-year career at Penn State as the all-time leading touchdown scorer with 45 rushing touchdowns. And I've brought this up on the Dynasty show, probably this show in the past. There is a weird correlation between fantasy football success in the NFL and, for the running back position, rushing touchdowns in college. That is one of the stickier stats. Not that rushing touchdowns necessarily are sticky, but that one has a high correlation to success in the NFL. You don't get much better than 45. Oh, and also he had over 100 receptions in college. That's an outrageously high number. So you're telling me that the two things that score fantasy points, he can catch the ball and he can score touchdowns. He's 220 plus pounds. So he can be used in a goal line situation. I don't feel like that's really Tony Pollard or Tajay Spears' specialty. So this is just someone, it's a sleeper, it's a 5th round, NFL draft pick. We usually just, look at them as wisps of smoke in the air and try to smell oh, this smells good.
Is it a fire?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I like this?
Every now and then you can find, a Bucky Irving day 3 pick, but Singleton is someone to keep your eye on, 220, 6 pounds. And he also keep in mind, he injured his
26 pounds.
Did I say that? I did say that.
No, the Deuce, none of them are paying attention.
No? Okay. Yeah,
okay,
they are
Kyle.
checked out.
Yeah, you said 220, 6 pounds.
6
so
foot.
Newborn baby.
But at the Senior Bowl, which is, obviously after the collegiate season, he injured his foot. So if you want to talk about dropping in the draft of the 5th round, that could be a legit reason. Like he is dealing with an injury, so a team would have to sacrifice some of that time. I did like the prospect. Like Katrin Allen, his running mate there at Penn State, I preferred Nicholas Singleton from a fantasy football perspective.
I didn't realize Singleton was going to get that long of a segment. Otherwise, I would have shut that whole thing down.
Okay. That's why I went.
I'm going with Zachariah Branch. Zach Branch of the Atlanta Falcons. He's a 3rd-round pick. Now, his production profile is one that we can be scared off of for fantasy football when everything is so manufactured for a kid in college. Like, you're not running the true NFL routes.
The screen warrior.
Yes. But there is an opportunity here. A 3rd-round pick by the Falcons, also known as a day 2 pick. He's athletically gifted. He's a bit undersized, but there's room for him. There is absolutely room.
There's room for him anywhere because he's so small.
Thank you. Yes, you can
5'9",
put him in a carry-on. But it's Drake London, yes, and Kyle Pitts. We got the franchise tag, but Kyle Pitts is just such a weird player who sometimes shows up, sometimes doesn't. And Branch can easily earn himself, essentially a full-time role here for the Atlanta Falcons, and maybe they're able to manufacture him touches as well. For a 3rd-round pick, being
like
drafted
this.
late.
So usually when you're a screen warrior and usually when you're undersized, 2 big strikes against you where I don't like betting on those prospects. And I do think Zachariah Branch will fail. However, I love betting on him specifically because he is worth the reward if he succeeds. Most of these guys in 2026, the wide receiver draft class, I think a lot of them are going to be good NFL wide receivers, a lot of good depth pieces, but not make an impact on fantasy football. They're going to be their wide receiver 2 or 3 for their team. They're going to help move the chains and be important and not be someone you're starting in your lineup. Zachariah Branch has a superpower where if it hits, the Tyreek Hill whispers, I don't think I've seen another prospect who has the same burst as Tyreek Hill other than Branch. When he
4.35,
it's not even
fast.
It's not even the 4.35. There's
off the line.
Just the burst from stop to start is outrageous. Tyreek was obviously he's a one of one.
Yeah,
and he's built far more than Branch to be able to take the NFL punishment. But I do think if Branch hits, it's going to be a higher ceiling than a lot of the other like round 3, round 4 rookie picks. So I like that as a sleeper option. And then my sleeper option, I've personally drafted him everywhere. I've put my
You are a big supporter.
I'm a big supporter. Ted Hurst, wide receiver, drafted in the 3rd round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like the film.
The Broadhurst?
The Broadhurst. We'll work on this.
No. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. The last 2 seasons, he led college football in 20-plus yard receptions. He is 6'4", 206. He is a tall, field-stretching, heir apparent. He is not Mike Evans. He's not a first-round NFL pick. He doesn't have the production profile of Mike Evans, but they're bringing him into that role. That Zach Robinson literally was just saying having a true X weapon in an offense is important. Speaking of Ted Hurst, the draft pick, they just lost Mike Evans, so I think he does come in and maybe he splits time to start the season. But it looks like Emeka Egbuka is going to be in the Z role. Chris Godwin is a slot player. Ted Hurst has an opportunity as a day 2 pick. Who I really did like the film. I think he's a good he high points the ball well. He always gets open deep. He uses his speed very well, and I think he'll work. So Ted Hurst, I think that's a name people need to pay attention to because again, just like Branch, what he does as a 6'4" wide receiver who had a lot of like fade catch touchdowns over smaller DBs and did him very well. If he hits, he's going to be a touchdown machine in the NFL. And he goes to a good quarterback in Baker who can throw touchdowns. He's
interesting because like the pre-draft process. So he went to Georgia State. So a D1 school, but a smaller conference. I was like, oh boy. It's Hakeem Butler all over again.
Yeah,
all the fantasy nerds were
Butler.
Like, look at this 6'4" guy's running 4.4. And then the NFL is like, we don't want Hakeem Butler, but 3rd round pick.
Yeah, Butler fell to the 5th, right?
5th or 6th
The
round.
NFL got that right.
So the NFL decided, at least the Bucs decided that we're going to go in on Ted Hurst. And where he's being drafted, I think he is a solid pick.
One of the weirdest things this year is the absence of 1,000-yard receivers on all these highly touted collegiate prospects. Like that's always been a barometer for me. Like if your best season in college wasn't 1,000 yards, I have a really hard time thinking but this year it's like all of them. I mean Tyson had 1,000, Lemon had 1,000, Tate didn't, but he wasn't the one on his team. But then it's like all of the other day 2 picks, almost none of them got 1,000 yards. At least Hurst, goes over that bar.
Right. Into the news.
News and notes from around the league.
Can you hit the money for me?
Oh, yeah.
De'Von Achane. Holy smokes.
I forgot we got a new one for the back wall, and I didn't want to hit the wrong one.
Gotcha.
All right.
The money is flowing. 4-year, $68 million buckaroonies. The extension for the Dolphins player, making him the NFL's 3rd highest paid running back at $17 per year, $32 million guaranteed. Last year, 11 fantasy points every single game.
I mean, he is an awesome guy, deserves every penny. $32 million guaranteed. How bad does De'Von Achane feel looking at Jeremiah Love, realizing Jeremiah Love got $21 million more in guaranteed money than this massive contract?
Yeah.
It's like
that kind of stinks, but also Gibbs is like,
oh, yeah. Gibbs is like,
huh? He did what?
Your money? Money, please. Yeah. We got to get that dropped.
Yes, we do.
We got to cut that up.
Then there was in not fun news. Athletic, from the Athletic, we got a report. Malik Neighbors underwent a cleanup procedure a couple weeks ago. For a lot of injury experts out there, this was not shocking news. You never like to hear that a guy who had ACL and meniscus surgery had to have a cleanup to get rid of some scar tissue. We want Malik Neighbors healthy as possible long term, but it feels like he may not be ready to start the year.
No.
A pup candidate. Maybe it's just a couple weeks, or maybe it's the pup.
I mean, it just depends on your perspective. This was great news for me. This is great news for me.
You made a trade. You made a trade last year for you traded away the 2026 season in League of Record.
Yes, correct.
Like the upcoming season, you have already traded that season.
I'm out. I am OUT. Me and my co-manager Snyder, we have been saying for the last year, we're the future champ.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm out on 2026, and
you idiot.
No, this is ridiculous. You did the same thing 2 years ago.
Not before the season started.
You got last place because you sold and played for the future.
Yes, about halfway through the year.
I'm out in front of you, Mike. I'm out in front. I went after it hard last year. Josh Jacobs went down for me, and then Daniel Jones went down, which hurt Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, yep.
You won the championship. I didn't. But because of that, I have very little draft capital. So coming into this year, I just made a 1-for-1 trade. I traded away CeeDee Lamb for Malik Neighbors. It's perfect. And I hope Neighbors starts on the pup. I don't want to win this year. I want him to get healthy, start slow. And I guess for everybody out there that is not just selfishly thinking of their own team, he probably starts on the pup. That's my current expectation.
Okay.
Dr. Chow, longtime team doctor of the that
Chargers.
point San Diego Chargers.
Yep.
He was saying months ago when the crutch was coming out for Neighbors, it was a sign that it was a different type of procedure because we knew it was a meniscus as well as the ACL, and so to him it was a different sign of the type of procedure, which is not a bad thing. It doesn't hurt long-term recovery, but it does indicate it's going to be a longer process for short-term recovery. So he expects him to not start the season week 1, and so I guess I would just tell people this is a buy candidate the whole season. He's going to start on the pup. He's going to start slow. He probably will not be full strength until late in the 2026 season. Maybe he can help people win championships.
Sure.
Buy him mid-season. But don't be afraid of, oh my gosh, this is going to be some devastating career-ending injury because we're told he's going to be ready for week 1 and now he's not. I don't think that was correct information from the get-go.
But we'll have to monitor and be careful with the ADP, knowing what you're getting yourself into.
For sure. You where he's going right now in ADP is too high. I expect if we get closer to the season, it looks like he's going to start on the pup. People won't be drafting him as like the 6th wide receiver or whatever, because you're going to miss a month and then he's going to come back and not be full candidate. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's still a super talented guy.
The Pewter Report, they're reporting that Bucky Irving has not been cleared to participate yet, as in he's not participating in like getting hit or team stuff. So Betts, our injury guy, we had the notes. I'm going to do my best. He had a shoulder.
You got this.
He had a shoulder subluxation.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. I mean,
the computer says so.
Also known as a partial dislocation.
Just say that, right?
Freaking scientists, doctors, and nerds. All they know is big words. You're like, well, what's that? Oh, it's a partial dislocation.
Now, to be fair, dislocation is kind of a big word.
Well, it's a medium word. I can handle the mediums.
Right. The mediums are okay.
So Betts believes there should be no issues to be cleared before the start of the season. It's just
he had a recent surgery.
Just keeps compounding on itself for Bucky.
That was because a lot of it, all the worries of Bucky was like the mental health, the rumors, of like maybe he wasn't really doing well, and part of that was I think that he was having mental issues with the physical injuries. But the timeline of this specific surgery should not get in the way of the start of the season.
But in the meantime,
keep Kenny Gainwell.
Kenneth Gainwell is there, coming off a sensational season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bucs prioritized him.
I will be drafting Kenneth Gainwell will be a late round like target for me.
I get that. Panthers general manager Dan Morgan said the team will, quote, keep talking through a potential extension for Bryce Young. The situation of Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud is very difficult.
Bryce Young is impossibly difficult because, like, C.J. Stroud's been disappointing. We talked about that yesterday on the Footcast.
Right.
The 4 interception drubbing in the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
Bryce Young hasn't really done much good at all.
His team was in the playoffs, but it's been very lackluster. Of 2025, his best year, he narrowly surpassed 3,000 passing yards.
He had 3 games all year where he threw for more than 205.
Yes,
yards.
they did play the Rams tough in the playoffs because their defense and running game is good. Like that's what I mean of the team is not being carried by Bryce Young. And the same for the Houston Texans last year. C.J. Stroud was not the identity of the team. The identity was the defense. It's not that they are catastrophically bad quarterbacks, but when you have guys like this, you have to make a decision.
Yeah, that's the
and
tough
you
thing.
you get in where the Giants were with Daniel Jones, where you're like, I guess we have to pay him, but we know it's probably not the right idea. But if you let him go, now like having him on the team is better than not.
Right. You're going to take a step back if you lose Bryce Young or maybe not C.J. Stroud solely because they have a backup that looked just as good.
Oh, no.
General Mills, man. He came in and looked better. But, if you're a Panthers fan, you don't want a long-term contract for Bryce Young, right?
I wonder what the fans think.
I mean, I know I wouldn't want that. I don't believe he's, like, capable of winning a Super Bowl.
Oh.
And isn't that – I mean, that's always, like, the philosophical question of would you rather have, a Kirk Cousins – be competitive every year for years. You've got a good offense. You've got a good team. You got hope. You're getting in the playoffs all the time, like not current Kirk Cousins.
Right.
But you kind of know, like, you're not winning a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. I mean, as a Cardinals fan, I would kill for Kirk Cousins years. But I don't even know if Bryce Young's at that level.
The Jets signed Fireball Jones, a.k.a. Tim Patrick. That's only in here because we stand for Tim Patrick forever. The NFL schedule. Apparently, this is in our news.
This is cool. Yeah.
Okay.
It's in our news for a reason.
The season will begin with a Super Bowl rematch between the Patriots and the Seahawks.
Neat.
In Seattle on Wednesday night. Is that because I thought
they're
the Australia game was going to be Wednesday night.
I think the Australia's the Thursday.
Oh. Well, the football's on the way, and there's going to be a lot of it.
Chiefs Broncos the first Monday night, but the big news to me, Thanksgiving.
Clear your schedule.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of absurd. They've got a Thanksgiving Eve game, they've got a Black Friday game now, but to me, the only thing that matters is Thanksgiving Day football is going to be so freaking awesome.
Yeah,
barring quarterback injuries or whatever. Every year there's a game or two, and in years past when the Cowboys stunk and the Lions stunk, I felt like Thanksgiving football was just bad game, and then they'd have a decent game. This is Bears-Lions, awesome. Eagles-Cowboys, awesome. And then you end the night with Chiefs-Bills?
Yeah.
Whew!
Yeah. And then
I know what I'm thankful for.
Amazon's like, holy crap, look at this schedule. What do we get on Black Friday? They're like, we're giving you the up-and-coming Denver Broncos. They were one quarterback injury away from making it to the Super Bowl.
And who are they playing?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Steelers. Who's their quarterback?
I don't know.
They don't know.
We got Bo Nix versus Drew Aller, Rodgers. Who cares? Sorry, Amazon.
Steelers
look,
fans.
we're gonna watch the game. But we'll be coming off the high of the Chiefs-Bills. What a game that's going to be. So, yeah, like that entire week, clear the schedule. All right, we're moving on, but we got to take a quick break. So we're just right into the mailbag? Is that what we're doing?
That is correct.
All right.
Dynasty Mailbag.
Mailbag.
Dynasty Edition.
All right. Oh, and we have a voice. I think this is the first Dynasty Week show I've ever hosted.
For sure.
And I'm just not on my game. I was not prepared for this. But we do have a voicemail.
Hey, ballers. Calling in from my commute home in Canada.
Bonjour.
Joining a startup of Dynasty this year. Any tips? Draft tips, general tips, anything would be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Jason mentions our Dynasty pod show comes out every Wednesday with Jason, myself, or one of us, usually one of us, and then Kyle the Borgogan and Matthew Betts. That goes year long. There's always tons of tips on there. This week we did our top 10 Dynasty startup questions. So that would be a great place for you to start. Essentially, the real basic of the basic is you're going to want to build your foundation of young elite wide receivers over running backs just because of
longevity.
The shelf life. Not that elite running backs aren't important. They definitely are and can really help you win a championship. And then don't overvalue the youth completely, where your team is just like, hey, in 3 years, my team is going to be, if you start any Dynasty team with a thought of in 2 to 3 years, this team right here, that's not going to work. Whenever I see teams draft that way, they're always 3 years away. Do you have any quick tips other than that, Jay?
My quick tips are essentially those first 4 rounds focus on wide receivers over the running backs. You kind of alluded to that, but you've got the guys like James Cook. We just talked about how good he is. He's so good. He's almost 27. He's older than you think.
Right.
Christian McCaffrey, you're going to win a championship with. But when you're doing a startup draft, by the end, maybe I'm a contender. But you don't know when you're in the first round, the second round, the third, fourth round. Maybe
right.
the way that the draft comes to you, you build a more youthful team. Maybe you are a contender, but you don't know. And so since you don't know, I want to build a foundation. I don't want, where Christian McCaffrey is going to get drafted in a startup draft, there's probably going to be a young, proven wide receiver that I can get, a better value. Then later in the draft, that's where I go for the old men. I love getting no one in a Dynasty startup draft is drafting Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's just dead because
especially the old court like Stafford and Dak.
Yeah,
quarterbacks who probably have a few more years of really high value for fantasy football, but people in startup Dynasty drafts want the young quarterbacks, and so just pay attention to them. So if you're feeling, oh man, I'm a little thin here at quarterback, take a pause, take a breath, because those guys will be there for you later. Yeah. Even though, it's not a sexy pick, but it's a good pick. All right, this one's off of Instagram. Rick Deeks. Is Christian Watson a trade for candidate in full PPR?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think his value currently sits.
He is 27, which is, I can't believe Watson's been in the league that long.
Oh, it's because he hasn't played as many games as you would think for a guy that age.
That's true.
What's his contract right now? Do you know it off the top of your head?
He's in the final year of the contract. Remember they'd given him
the injury contract.
Yes, he tore the ACL, or I think it was ACL, and they kind of gave him the contract to say, no, you're secure here. We want secure here. But Christian Watson is.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a couple void years on his contract after this one.
I think he'll get an extension.
I do too.
I am, as of right now, where everything is going, shaking out with the market, what I think of teams, Christian Watson is a glaring value to me right now.
I think that there are some rookies this year, if you're assuming your rookie draft is over, like if I could trade any second-round rookie pick this year for Christian Watson, I would do that. But if your rookie draft is over, look at who you drafted at the back of the first, the early second, and I think that those players in this year's draft have, the hope, the potential out there, and they probably won't hit what Christian Watson can do.
And just a reminder, if you're, just catching up, the Green Bay Packers no longer have Romeo Doubs. He is on the Patriots. They traded Dontavian Wicks, the hope and the promise every year of Wicks being a breakout. So he's on the Eagles now. And
Tucker Kraft.
And Tucker Kraft is returning from his own injury. I think the targets are going to get consolidated here, where it's Green Bay, where they've been doing these things of playing a lot of wide receivers. Sometimes you feel like, why is this guy getting snaps? But that's been their method.
They can't now.
The current depth chart to me says it's going to be Watson.
What is the problem with Jaden Reed? What is the problem with Jaden Reed? What for fantasy?
He is only on the field for 3 wide receiver sets.
That's right. And so they play a lot of 2 wide receiver snaps. So now Christian Watson and who else?
Matthew Golden.
So you're telling me Christian Watson just has to compete with Matthew Golden for targets on a lot of snaps? Easy bet. Easy bet. Sometimes it's just too easy.
We got a trade block question off of X from Hawks fan. What's your stance on placing a player in the trade block? Does that hurt their perceived value by letting the whole league know they're available? Or do you find it worth it to make sure that all potential bidders know?
This is a good question that I have as well, because I don't have the answer. When I put a player on the trade block, what I feel like has happened is everyone just goes, "Oh, you're giving this guy away? How about my garbage? You want my garbage?" That's what I experience. But on the other side, I do see moments where someone puts someone on the trade block, and then the next day that player has found a new home. And I'm like, so it can work. And I guess this is anecdotal, absolutely no evidence here, but I think it's just what tier of player is it? If you put a high-tier player on the trade block, you get good offers.
Yes.
You are announcing, at that point you're announcing, hey, I am willing to hear offers on Jamar Chase, which people aren't just going out there and making offers on some of the best players because they just assume
it's not possible.
It's not possible. But if there's news, I've seen it where it's like bad news comes out on a middle tier player, and so then that player goes on the trade block. You think we all don't know the news?
Yeah.
You're gonna get a fast one over on us. Everyone in the league has the notifications. Those things just hurt a player's value.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the trade block is good.
Do you use it?
Yeah, I do. If I have I'm trying to make some moves, I'll put a guy on the block. I would say though, I have had experiences with people, like a one manager, where it's like, okay, players keep getting put on the block, and then you reach out, oh, let's have a conversation. And it turns into the boy who cried wolf situation where you're like, you don't actually want to trade this guy. You're wanting me to come in and overpay for this player. It's that's not how this works. So then that creates a situation where I don't even want to talk to this manager or because I know we're not going to get anything worked out. So
yeah,
just avoid that.
So Jeremy just said you can always reject low ball offers. Any trade negotiations are better than no trade negotiations. Yeah. And while that part is true, what you're experiencing, I've definitely been there. I have 100% been to the place where I just stop working with certain managers.
Yeah,
because I feel like we can't get a job done. So if you've got to be responsible on both sides.
Agreed. Instagram from Lucky Kyle. Trade Christian McCaffrey for TreyVeon Henderson. Straight up.
Oh, man. Oh, baby.
Context for this one really, really matters. McCaffrey, though he is my dude, he is a human being. We don't know how long he will be elite for in the NFL. I think we're all still projecting a healthy McCaffrey on the 49ers this year will be awesome for fantasy football. How long does he have? And then the conversation about Henderson, I'm in a trickier spot now. I brought him up on this week's Dynasty podcast. We were looking at all the year 2 running backs of like these were the chosen ones.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we all knew, and there's greatness there. But when you look at all the situations going into year 2, it's like, oh man, something's got to break right.
You are the most man crush on TreyVeon Henderson.
Henderson on the field, I thought was, I thought he should have been
had
the
his
first round pick.
breakout. He had his breakout with the Patriots.
That's where this is so difficult for me, because he had the breakout, and then Ramondre came back, and they went right back to Ramondre.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the appropriate thing of, hey, our young second-round running back is who we thought he was. It's time to flip this up. And they went, nope, we're going to make a Super Bowl run here, and we want Ramondre to be the leader of the timeshare.
There's 2 things with this. One that is bad is Ramondre still has a lot of money and years. I believe he has at least 2 years left on his deal. So from a dynasty perspective, that can hurt Hendo. But on a positive side, they went back to Ramondre, and they did that like in the playoffs when things really mattered. And I think a lot of that, if you look at
Ramondre was fumbling again last year.
But pass protection and like some of the veteran things that matter, I think mattered to them. Coming into year 2, Henderson should get better as a running back, like better as an athlete.
Yeah.
He's coming into his prime. He will have more trust, more knowledge of the system. I do expect him to – I have Henderson significantly ahead of Ramondre this year in redraft.
Okay.
So it's funny, when I was talking about the startup tips, I had been looking at where Christian McCaffrey was going in just consensus startup drafts right now. And if he's right in a 4-pack of different positions. You have Jordan Tyson, Tyler Warren, Christian McCaffrey, and TreyVeon Henderson.
Oh, man.
So it's like those 4.
Man.
And if you said this right, because this was a trade question.
Yes.
The context of your team matters. What is your window? Because championship teams should be trying to trade for Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
Put yourself over the top. Get the trophy. If I'm in a startup draft, Christian McCaffrey I would take after all those players. If I'm building a foundation of a team for the future, I would rather have Jordan Tyson, Tyler Warren, and TreyVeon Henderson.
Yeah. All right. Age cliffs. This is off of YouTube. What age do you begin devaluing a player, and how does that age differ per position?
So there's a couple things here. I think it differs between position internally within the position. So not every quarterback plays the same style of game. If you rely on the running game, it's usually an earlier age cliff than like a Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers, a Dak Prescott that can, go a little bit deeper into their career. I know, Mike, you used to have some good this is several years ago, but you saw the end coming for Cam Newton.
Right.
Before that was popular. So when you're looking at that with, say, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts' age cliff is going to be a little bit earlier than what it will be for Dak Prescott. Lamar was scary. His passing has gotten so much better. Like Josh Allen is less scary because he can also throw for 4,500 and 40 just from the pocket.
When that switch happens for Allen, he will be fine.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to the point where when the switch happens for Lamar, I think he's going to be okay too. Like, I think he will remain athletic and fast enough that maybe, we're not getting all the rushing yards we want out of him, but it's going to help him stay, not getting hit in the pocket and things like that. So we do have an article we'll point out in the Dynasty Pass. One of our writers, Big Marv, it's an excellent article that we go back and we refresh and look at things. But I'll give you, so essentially, like, for a running back, 27 is the age where they can still be great.
The sell window opens.
But if you're trying to not hold the bag,
right,
you got to get out. Wide receivers, it's around 29. And then tight ends is, like that. Tight ends are strange.
Almost every position peaks starting about 25. And
Right.
then if you want like the death year where it's like that, congratulations, you have the bag. And of course there are your Tom Brady's and your Derrick Henrys, but that's not normal.
No.
It's 34 at quarterback, 30 at running back, 31 at wide receiver, and 32 at tight end.
Got a next question from It's a Me Mario 2912. Would you trade Bijan for Hampton and a first, or would you try to get more?
Bijan for Hampton and a first, I would. Ooh, I think I would do that because 2027 is a loaded draft. Hampton and Bijan.
Oh man, I'd keep Bijan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Bijan is outstanding. We didn't get the opportunity to see what Hampton could be, so it's a bit of a projection. It's basically, if put it this way, I think 2027 first round picks are going to be real,
Yes,
foundational pieces for a team. If Hampton is the running back, say 6. I think everyone would take this deal. You would prefer to have the running back 6 and a foundational wide receiver
yes.
for
if,
Bijan.
If I knew how Hampton was going to do this year.
But if Hampton is, I'm just saying, if you think, what is the number where you would say, okay, a foundational piece and the running back 8, would you do that? With the running back 12, would you do that? The running back 15, would you? So at some point, there's where you've got to say, what do I believe Hampton is going to be?
Who has Hampton in Dino Senior? Do we know?
I do not know.
You have Bijan. Would you send that? Would you be willing to do that offer right now?
Oh, that really puts it to the
Yeah.
test. It feels like,
I don't think you would do
It
it.
feels like a no. Immediately it felt like a no because Bijan is my beautiful.
Yes.
Wow. Who has him?
Go look.
I'm curious because
Goldie does.
Goldie. Okay.
Goldie's team sucks, right?
He's a rebuild, yeah.
That's tempting. Yeah, I would do that.
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh, would I do that? Oh my gosh, that's a great.
Here's the thing, though, is
Wait, how Goldie's trash, right?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I got to make that offer. Oh,
You
but
can
can
look
I
at it.
do it?
you can look at it because running back, where Bijan can be as the running back 1 versus the running back 6. It's the top 3 running backs every year are they lap the field of the running back 6. The running back 6 is inconsequential compared to whoever the number 1 or number 2 guy is on a usual year for fantasy football. So that's why I'm still on the Bijan side, and I want 2027 firsts. I think the dynasty world is awake to those. Like maybe there's some stragglers who aren't hearing all the buzz
I mean,
about
that trade would be accepted, right? If I make that,
maybe.
this is spicy.
I don't know if he has his true first.
That's what I'm looking for right now.
All right. Well, now that you're really distracted,
Yeah.
this is a question from the website
Wrap this show up. We got work to do.
from Jeff
My name is Jeff.
in Button Willow.
Oh, bonjour. That's not in America. Button Willow?
Button Willow, California.
I hope that's 2 words, not 3. You know what I mean?
It's one word, Jason.
Oh, all right. Even better.
I have the 102 in a dynasty rookie draft. I am RB needy. Oh, okay, this is a Price. Do I take Price and pass one of the top wide receivers?
Well, if Andy were here, he would say yes.
Yes.
But Andy is not here, so I will say no.
You got to personally say, do you believe in Jadarian Price?
Did he say he's a contender? I mean, if he's weak at running back, he's probably not a contender.
All we know is the 102 and an RB needy team.
No. If you're an RB needy team, I don't think Price gives you a championship. Like, he's not going to – if you're RB needy, I don't think he pushes you over the top. And if you're not getting pushed over the top, take the best player. And I think you've got – whether Tyson or Tate, those guys just seem significantly better to me. And it's to you. One of the tips Andy kept saying on there's a recent – maybe the last episode – it's like, don't just go by consensus. What we do here is we give you our opinion,
Mm-hmm.
we give you how to think about it, and we try to entertain you. We try to be accurate, all those things. But don't just listen to us. go watch Jadarian Price. See what you think. Look at his film. Be like, man, I love this guy. This guy's awesome. Or I don't like what I see. I mean, make your own opinion. But in my opinion, I would take the wide receivers.
It's difficult for me. Like I don't blame anyone. If you're at the 102, and I will say almost everyone in Dynasty needs a running back.
Mm-hmm.
We all need them. But if you're like, no, I'm down bad, I have to get someone, I'm okay with it. But my evaluation is that Tate and or Tyson, or I think one of them, if not both, will turn into not the Jamar tier, but that tier right underneath. I think both of those guys could hit that. And the fact that they are with, the young quarterbacks, I'm in enough on Cam Ward to be like, yeah, he looks like he could be a franchise guy. I'm super in on Shuck already, and the fact that Kellen Moore and Shuck, I think it's going to be fantastic. Dable will help for Cam Ward. So just where I think that those wide receivers are headed, I couldn't do that for someone who I think splits time. I think he becomes a Kenneth Walker type. Charbs is banged up, late season knee injury, but he will be back. And when he's back, they're going to use him.
For sure.
And
for sure they are.
It was so frustrating to have Walker on your team and see greatness happen and then like, put Charbs in. You're like, why are we doing this? And so if they 3 down Price, then anyone who didn't take him at 102 is going to feel bad. So you got to make all those evaluations.
New question.
Well, hold on. You have a new question, Jason.
Yeah, so next year you got some stars of stars in like Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, the high-end wide receivers next year are going to be spicy.
Yeah, and a running back or two. So you're gonna have some top-end heavy
I
talent.
need Williams to turn it around. Get back on track.
Bijan for 2027 first and Hampton, where you get a chance at maybe Jeremiah Smith.
If you felt like you had a good chance at Jeremiah Smith plus Hampton for Bijan, then yes.
Or a guaranteed Carnell Tate and Omarion Hampton.
Oh, interesting.
For Bijan. Which would you prefer?
Oh,
right?
Man.
Carnell Tate is, in most drafts right now, I think he's the 102, 103.
He's the 102 or 103 for most, yes.
The number one wide receiver taken in this year.
Oh, man.
Because the guy has both of those. I'm looking at his team. I'm like, man, would I rather just have the sure thing, the 102 pick and Tate, or the chance for the 101 next year?
That's a gambling man right there.
Yeah.
That's a gambling man. All right, off of IG. Emilio Anya. Dak or Mahomes for a contender? Oh, my gosh, we have to ask this question?
This is
our beloved, our golden child, Patrick Mahomes. What have you done to our boy?
I know.
What have you done?
I'm still
look at my boy.
I'm still on the Patrick Mahomes side, and I have him ranked significantly lower than Dak in redraft right now. Coming off of the injury, I think he gets off to a slower start, runs less, and he was running a ton this year, which was helping him for fantasy. You have a 3.5 year age gap here, but you also have a talent gap. Like Dak is very good. Dak is not Mahomes. I think if you tell me Dak starts fading away at 34 or 35.
So Dak right now he'll be 33 soon, and then Mahomes will turn 31 this year.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle, how many years in a row has Dak outscored Patrick Mahomes in fantasy football?
Oh, my gosh.
Is it 3?
Gosh. Are you going to –
I don't know. This is not a gotcha.
It's probably –
This is a real question.
I can tell you, Kyle, look up Dak. The last 3 years for Mahomes, he's been the quarterback 8, 11, and 11. However, this last year he was
he was great.
He was on
Yeah.
fire. He finished as 11 because he didn't finish the season. On a per-game basis, though, he had to have been outscoring Dak.
Oh, man. All right, Kyle, you look that up. We'll come back to it. Off of the website, Shane in Seattle. Let's see. So, we got it.
Dak had the injured year
Yeah.
in 24. So 2 of the last 3, but not really, because this last year, on a per-game basis, Mahomes was outscoring him the last 2 years.
Yes. Yeah, he was. I hate that.
I would
hate
still
that we
prefer-
even have to ask that
I
question.
think if you look at like who has the chance to be the quarterback 1 over the next 5 years, I brought this up with
5 is long. Let's throw in that 3.
No, but the reason I say 5 is I've brought this up with Mahomes in the past. Like, I don't love his weapons right now. Kelsey's getting older. They didn't really go out and get a new guy in the draft. You look at Tom Brady, an all-time GOAT, a guy that's going to go down as first ballot blind Hall of Fame type of quarterback in Mahomes. Tom Brady wasn't always great for fantasy. He was always fine. But then he would have his years where he won you championships. And I think that's still in the cards for Mahomes. Mahomes might play to 40 and end up having an overall quarterback 1. I don't think Dak has, Dak could be the quarterback 5 this year and the quarterback 5 next year and then start fading into oblivion. I that's kind of my outlook. So from a dynasty perspective, I would still prefer Mahomes.
I think Dak can be QB1 this year. You give an actual full year of both CD and George are healthy. I mean,
they did improve their defense, I think, significantly.
Yeah,
sadly,
they're going to air it out with those 2 guys. Let's see from the website, Shane in Seattle. I was offered Tetairoa McMillan for Drake London.
I love both of these guys. I would much rather have Drake London.
Okay, we had some discussions about McMillan. I wasn't sure if you had moved T-Mac over London or
no,
not.
I haven't. Drake London's so good. Their age is a year apart. This isn't, it's not the widest gap. I think, what we saw with Drake London with Penix. When Penix was playing, and we don't know that Penix is even going to be the quarterback, but presumably he's still there. So if he's not the quarterback, it's because they think it's an upgraded option. What we saw with Drake London with Penix was outstanding for fantasy. Bryce Young has to level up.
Yes, he does. As I said, he narrowly threw 3,000 yards.
Yes, Bryce Young, like the idea that he's going to throw 4,000 yards seems like
impossible.
A really bad bet. Maybe, but that would take a complete level up for him.
Yeah.
And so therefore, Tetairoa McMillan, who is awesome, I think has a harder path to be, a top 5 fantasy wide receiver.
And Drake London, he will be getting the bag very, very soon.
Yeah.
So he will be in his year 5. Yeah, he's
in the 5th year option,
yeah.
so he'll get
the
it
bag
this year.
is on the way.
Yeah.
For Drake London. All right, last question here. I think this is a very fun one off of Twitter from Dave. Trade away Brian Thomas Jr. for Luther Burden.
Oh man,
the guy who has done it and then was terrible, for the guy who was very slow and then had moments where you're like, that dude is the guy.
They share a lot in common in the sense that we've seen both guys be incredible on the field. I also think that the biggest problem for both players is target competition.
Right.
Like, you've got a lot of mouths to feed in both places, but man, Luther Burden's film was so fun to watch.
This is a hard one.
I believe right now that, and this is not saying Luther Burden is bad. I just think he is being overvalued.
Could be.
Like
it is
the
a
bet
projection.
is so heavy on a yes right now for him. Like where he's being drafted is so heavy on the yes side that I think it's probably not the same odds that he does hit. the exact opposite is true for Brian Thomas.
Okay.
He's being drafted so low that like he's dead, and I think those are too over exaggerated. I would take Brian Thomas Jr. But I'm very curious your answer.
I think I'm taking Burden.
Yeah, that's why this is such a good, difficult question. I want to poll the deucers on this one.
Yes,
I just want to know.
more.
Yeah, Matt.
No, Matt just said
no. He's like, no.
Matt's answer was no.
All right, go to the deucer cam. We'll start with Jeremy to give Matt more time.
It's BTJ for me.
All right.
Same for me.
Oh,
I'll go Burden then.
yeah, the Burden boys.
All right.
He's gonna be so good. All right, that's gonna do it for today's edition of the Fantasy Footballers Show. Thank you for joining us for Dynasty Week. One more time, we'll tell you there is a giveaway going on right now, a James Cook signed jersey. All you have to do is what you're going to do, which is pre-order the UDK, lowest possible price. That comes out. The Ultimate Draft Kit, the good stuff. Like Dynasty Pass is already, you can get that.
Yeah, that's up.
But all of it, the meat, will be out on June 1st, which is only 2 weeks away.
So soon. And if you're already an Ultimate Foot Clan member, you're in the contest. And if you have picked up the UDK and you want to convert to the Ultimate Foot Clan member where you just get everything we ever have forever, always, we give you $1 for $1 off. So you can just go to footclan.com and it'll just make sure you're logged in and it'll automatically recognize that you've got the UDK and it'll discount the Ultimate. That way you can just have everything, be a part of this journey forever. And hopefully Andy's voice is back Monday for new shows. We got 100 video profiles to record for this Ultimate Draft Kit.
That's going to do it. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.